once again, another Wrestling Rants road trip is just beginning right here, right now. It is Wednesday, midweek. Did not get in a rant on All In yet, so now that we are here in Chicago, ready for the Wrestling Rants road trip, this year All In week will culminate with 5 wrestling events that I'll be attending. Tonight I will be at Dynamite, Thursday AEW, GCW on Friday, Saturday Collision, and of course Sunday is All Out. But there are a lot of questions remaining for these events after all of the fallout from All In, not just the results of the pay-per-view, but the behind-the-scenes controversy and scuttlebutt behind CM Punk, Jack Perry getting into a legitimate, somewhat, I guess, of a fight of some sort backstage at All In on Sunday night in London. I guess most of this happened right before the pay-per-view started. If you recall, let's get into a quick rundown of my thoughts on All In, since we never got a rant in on that this week. Things got kind of busy on my end. Went to the State Fair as well, too. That was a fun experience. But whatever the case, let's rewind back to Sunday at All In. 81,035 plus fans. That was the actual paid attendance, which is a new pro wrestling record. So, in fact, AEW did break that record they were looking to get at. Word is probably upwards of about 90,000 total people in the huge Wembley Stadium. What a spectacle it was. It was so fun watching this show. In fact, I delayed on doing a rant because I wanted to watch the show 2 times over. I was that into this show. I was all about checking it out on a replay, which I did, and I'm glad I did, because this show held up really well. This was, I had told a friend of mine, everything felt elevated on this show, from the production to the presentation, in some ways to the storytelling, particularly in the main event. Lots of, and there's been a lot of people's opinions back and forth on this note, but a lot of hardcore wrestling on this show, a lot of weapons, a lot of brawling, a lot of blood, a lot of kind of ECW feel, almost in a way, maybe more than I ever recall an AEW pay-per-view with, I believe, something like 3 or 4 matches. I think it's 4 matches that basically were no disqualification, anything goes kind of matches. So there was a lot of that for sure, but I thought this show was phenomenal. Just that crowd atmosphere. This felt like, I guess I would compare it to AEW's WrestleMania 3. That is, in my mind, looking back as a child back in 1987, that really caught my attention. Oh my God, look at this wrestling in a huge crowd. A spectacle at the time that was unprecedented. And I think this AEW All In brought a level of that for sure, especially for the AEW brand. This is like nothing they had ever gotten anywhere close to for a crowd and an atmosphere and an environment and a spectacle feel. No question about it. So from that essence, I thought the show was a huge success. It's a real shame that the controversy behind the CM Punk issue particularly has kind of muddled the waters on what ended up being, in my mind, a really, not just financially, but a critically successful show. Some quick thoughts. The pre-show, I had to go back to the pre-show because I found out there was an extra hour of an additional pre-show content that they really didn't announce this ahead of time. I don't know if this was maybe in England only or in other countries where they had a 2-hour pre-show, but in that first hour there was a Powerhouse Hobbs and Miro contract signing for All Out. There also was a Jeff Jarrett promo that was actually really good, where he was berating the fans, talking about how this wouldn't have been possible without American wrestlers and things like that. A really good promo that let out Paul White, that let out as well Anthony Ogogo, a British star with AEW. If you recall his feud with Cody Rhodes, very short-lived. That was about all we saw of him. He was back in, and then Grado was brought in for one shot as well against Jarrett, Lethal, Satnam Singh, and just a quick angle where the babyfaces squashed the heels there. But I thought it was kind of an entertaining little bit that they did there. I had them on the show. And we got to the pre-show, that Aussie Open match with Adam Cole and MJF. I gotta say, the booking surprised me. I expected swerves here. I expected maybe a turn by one of the other guys, but instead they played it straight. I liked it. I thought the match, for what it was pretty good as well for a pre-show opener. Then we got to Jack Perry and Hook. This was a wild match, mostly on top of and around a limousine. And this was the infamous match where Jack Perry went into business for himself. He may end up losing his job because of this. But comment about the glass being real on the car as a nod and a nudge and a wink wink. And I guess kind of a fuck you to CM Punk, where there's this backstage issues with Punk and Perry, all stemming from Punk stepping in to try to prevent Jack Perry from doing an angle with actual real glass. This is just so weird, this stuff with Punk. It would take me another rant to probably fully talk about it. It's fucked up. I think the guy really needs to get his head checked or something. Something is up with this dude. He is ultra sensitive. You're in the wrong business, dude. And this is not the CM Punk I recall from back in the day either. So, another story for another day that we can get into on another rant. But as we move through All Out, I liked the Jack Perry and Hook. I guess you'd call it more of a brawl than anything with FTW rules. Hook won that one, and who knows if we'll see Jack Perry back again in an AEW ring ever. Because time will tell. Going into the opening match, which ended up being CM Punk versus Samoa Joe, and we almost didn't get this match. Apparently Punk was very adamant about wanting to do the match. He was pissed off, got to the arena salty in the first place because he had transportation issues getting to either the hotel or the arena from the airport. So there was that. He apparently had a reported argument in front of everybody with Tony Khan, where he may or may not have threatened to quit the company. Then he got into Jack Perry. There also was some rumors he got into it with Miro as well. This guy is a fucking nutcase, man. And ultimately it may end up really cutting into things here at Chicago. We're going to talk about that after we wrap up the All-In Thoughts. So as we get to the opening match on the pay-per-view, I thought Punk versus Joe, all things considered, especially knowing what happened right before this match, I thought it came off pretty damn well. You could tell Punk was irritated about something coming out of in his entrance to Boots, so there was that. I thought the match was pretty damn good, though. I'd go 4 stars on that one, actually, for the opener. And then we got the 6-man with the Golden Lovers, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi. And we also had Hangman Page with them against Bullet Club Gold and Konosuke Takeshita. Pretty good match. It felt like more like a kind of a Dynamite style match to set up Takeshita and Omega this Sunday here in Chicago at All Out. But it was an all-right match for what it was. Omega did the job. Took the pin on a roll-up from Takeshita to set up the match at All Out this week, which might end up being pretty high on the card if we're going to be losing a lot of different talent in and around this event. Then from there, we got the Young Bucks and FTR. I thought maybe not the best match these guys have ever had, but I felt at this point the show was hitting a stride, and this match continued that. I'd say a solid 4 stars on this one as well. The 6-man, I'd probably say about 3.5 stars on that, maybe 3.25, but still a good stride. FTR surprisingly wins the match. I did not expect that whatsoever. That's for damn sure. Then we get to the spring Stampede, excuse me, that's a WCW pay-per-view. But the Stadium Stampede match, which was all kinds of wild. I won't need to get into it. I'm just going to say I really enjoyed the match. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as the previous iterations, but it was still a very solid, I would say, 4 and 4.25 stars, somewhere around there, maybe 3 and 3/4, somewhere in that range. Thought Orange Cassidy particularly looked real good here. Eddie Kingston. There was a lot of positives in this match, no question about it. The next match, if I recall, was the women's four-way, which was not very long, but I thought the match was laid out very well. The crowd was very much behind all four of them, actually, all four women. The Saraya story was very well done, very emotional ending. I thought, damn, this was solid and awesome to see almost 5 years later, similar to kind of this show's crescendo based from the first All In. 5 years ago, Saraya was retired. Wasn't looking very good for her career and her mental health, and things did get better. She's back in the ring, and here she is with her family celebrating finally getting the AEW Women's Championship. Then from there we had the coffin match. What can you say about Sting? My God, this guy is unbelievable. He still goes at this age, and this was a hell of a fun match, no doubt about it. Darby and Sting going over in this one. Then we got Chris Jericho and Will Ospreay, which may have been my favorite, other than the main event, my favorite match of the card. I thought Jericho held his own here a lot. There was a few mistimed spots that looked kind of actually scary. One spot where it appeared to maybe that they headbutted each other on an accident. But this match was great. Just a solid match. And all these matches had this big match, big event feel, aura. The crowd was, from top to bottom, great for this show. What do you expect? It's London. It's an all-in. It's a big event at Wembley Stadium. No surprise there. Let's just continue this trend. Ospreay going over. I wonder if we're going to see Will Ospreay at any of the events this week in Chicago. I certainly hope so. They need to follow up from this win. Ospreay over Jericho. Also coming out of this match, I fully expect Jericho against Sammy Guevara at All Out this Sunday. At that point, I think we got to the, if I recall, the 6-man. I think it was around that time of the card where we got the 6-man trios match. Probably, honestly, my least favorite match of the main card, but the finish was still fun. It was great to see the story being played out as it was, and the Acclaim with Billy Gunn getting those 6-man trio championships. And then that main event, great storytelling. I loved the finish. I loved just about everything about this match. I'm very intrigued to see where they go with this coming this weekend. Particularly if the rumored CM Punk and Ricky Starks match is off. I think we need to do Cole and MJF part deuce right here in Chicago at All Out. If you want to tap a big buy rate or get some interest in this event and in this main event last minute, I think that's the way to go with it. You do Adam Cole and MJF, the rematch as the main event of All Out. They very well could do also maybe a double shot with them again. I could see the Kingdom. I could see Matt Taven and Mike Bennett getting a Ring of Honor tag title shot. I don't know why. I can just see it happening based on the storyline here. But man, what a great show. I've missed so many details from All Out. I had big notes on it and stuff. Didn't bring my notebook, but it is what it is. Enjoyed the show immensely. I would give it a solid A, no question about it. Maybe even hovering into that A+. I just felt like everything was elevated here, and this was AEW's premier event, and it felt like it. Really entertaining show, no doubt. All right, let's get into things here before I roll over to the Now Arena. I'm just probably about 10 minutes away from the Now Arena here. Let's get in some last-minute notes on the show tonight and all this controversy with CM Punk. One thing is for sure. we will not be seeing CM Punk tonight on Dynamite. He's actually in Las Vegas receiving an award through the Cauliflower Alley Club, which is having a ceremony, from what I understand, tonight. So Punk will not be at Dynamite. There was some conjecture of a few things with talent perhaps missing this night tonight. First off, the Bray Wyatt funeral, which now has been moved. So that shouldn't affect anybody missing the show. But previously, Tony Khan said anybody who wanted to go to this show could go, and they could even miss TV. They would right around it. So that's not happening. I don't know how that will affect things. If people maybe have already gotten reservations, like a plane flight, maybe even traveled to where the funeral was. I don't know when exactly they postponed this. I just heard something about that earlier today. Also, I'd heard that there may be a flu bug or a COVID bug going through the roster. That might be affecting some people showing up tonight. Boy, this week may be a kind of a snake-bitten week for AEW. Coming off the CM Punk stuff, it's really rattled things. It is not a good look optics-wise for the company either. So they really have to step up here this week as part of All Out Week. Things are seemingly kind of looking like rough for the card for All Out. I think it's time to really change things up. Call in some people that are coming in for StarCast. I'm just thinking one guy right here, RVD on my shirt, maybe a guy to call back in for another shot on an AEW show one of these nights. Either tonight, there's Collision on Saturday, and then of course the pay-per-view on Sunday. Who knows where they're going to go with things, but there's just a lot of speculation in the air about where this card's going, what are the matches being lined up. I don't know. I'm intrigued just as much as anybody. That's why I'm here. But whatever happens, I certainly hope that they get this card set tonight on Dynamite, so then they can actually build it a little bit on Collision on Saturday. I don't know what to expect. Time will tell here. But I think for now, that is going to be it here in Chicago. I'll try to get another rant in either late tonight or sometime tomorrow morning with the fallout from Dynamite. What happened off air, which you should be seeing some rant-exclusive content for that right here later tonight as well. Some videos from the event. I got a decent seat, 7th row near the ring, so there you go. Another thing, though, we'll be talking about on a follow-up rant here from Chicago, the final card for All Out and some predictions on that one. So, with that said, it's time for me to roll out of here on the way to the Now Arena tonight for the AEW Rampage and Dynamite taping coming up tonight. Stay tuned, rant exclusive content on your way right here from Chicago as in the latest wrestling rants round. Let's try that again. Stay with us as the latest Wrestling Rants road trip kicks off right here in Chicago. We're here till Sunday, right here at Wrestling Rants.